What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, the Civil War has begun. The Pony, Donkey Unicorn Civil War has begun. The PlayStation Civil War has begun. The Sony Civil War has begun. I don't know if I would have ever predicted that Sony would F up so much this generation. The generation they were destined to lead and to conquer, all they had to do was not do everything that they did. Basically, it was like, look, this is, you could, it's so easy, just don't mess up, okay? Like, but you gotta do some work though, but like pretend it's like the end of the PS3 era, like do that. But they didn't do that. Anyway, Porter Rock and J-Dub. I guess it's on Porter Rock show, was it 60 frames per second or so? I don't know what it's called. Grand opening, grand closing. Yo, I never thought I would see two pony generals at odds, yelling at each other on the internet. Porter Rock gets a little bit of a sprinkle of a grain of sand props, only because he has the ability to point out that Sony is hot trash garbage, that they're ass, that they suck at things, blah, blah, blah. You know, a realistic look at the company that is Sony. You know, I've seen it for years. You know, I look at their movies and I'm like, dude, y'all got Ghostbusters and y'all just messing that up. You're messing this up multiple times, messing it up. I'm just, you know what? Forget it. Sure. It's a Sony movie. Probably not going to be good. That's all I know. You know, except for the Spider-Man movies that are actually produced, meaning written and created and by Marvel, Kevin Feige. You know, the people who actually make decent movies. I mean, they're coming back. They were in a lull, but they're coming back now. But anyway, Porter Rock and J-Dub. So the argument was about these games of service games, and what was it? J-Dub's, I forgot what he exactly said, but he said something about Herman Hulst, and I would say the same thing I said to Phil Spencer, I say to the Herman Hulst, get good. And Porter Rock was like, no, that's not what you do. You don't say you do that like that. I was like, yeah, that's... And this is where you see the spectrum of Pony, the spectrum of Donkey Unicorn. On one end is Donkey Unicorn, other end is Pony, and then they're all in the middle, you know. And it is hilarious. And it's not even just that. It's like I'm looking at all of these different outlets. Even IGN is dissing Sony right now. Never thought that they would do that, but the bottom line is the bottom line. And IGN is like, look, everybody's talking about how horrible Concord is. We need to capitalize on them. We need to because we could get them clicks. That's all they care about is the clicks. Regardless of how much money Sony is putting into their advertising, into their site and stuff. You know, how much Sony is advertising on their site to give them money, to feed them. Regardless of that, they're like, look, you put out something that's like Concord? I'm sorry, we can't turn the other cheek. We can't just ignore this. Not this time. This is a mark in the video game history timeline. It's like Concord, like that. That's what it is. I mean, it should go down because it's so bad. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm like, oof. You know, so I'm listening, and I'm listening to like people I've never heard of before. I'm like, and they're going deep. They're like, I wrote out a script, 30-minute script, and they go into the script, and I'm like, all right. And they talk about, you know, the wokeness. And I know somebody in the comments, you know, broke down wokeness. I mean, I know what woke is. I know what woke was, and I know what it is now. And so I don't really pay attention that much to the woke movement or the woke agendas of any particular person, because I look past that stuff and I look at the person, the character, you know, whatever, you know, what they're saying, what they're doing, not so much what they're trying to represent. You know, if they're saying just nonsense and it is enveloped in some wokeness or, you know, whatever is perceived to be woke at the time, because it's going to change, then it's just not, it's nonsense, and then it has this nice woke, woke facade or whatever you want on it. So that, you know, that's like I said, I don't pay attention to the woke stuff. I get down to the nitty gritty, the details, the more important things. And these YouTubers are going in on, they did this, they produced the agenda. Meanwhile, and I think Paul Tassi broke it down. So the YouTuber I was looking at, I forgot his name, my bad. He was reading from Paul Tassi's article, basically. And he disagreed with him because he said that Paul Tassi basically oversimplified the whole kind of situation and subject. But in essence, Paul was trying to explain how the games didn't fail because they were woke. They failed because they were bad games. And these games didn't succeed because they weren't woke. They succeeded because they were good games. Now, the correlation between the woke and not woke and all that stuff is kind of mere coincidence, or I don't know what you would call it, but I always use the Overwatch example because there is some quote-unquote wokeness in it, but the game is so good, or was so good when it launched. I mean, there was a little bit of a bloop, but nobody cared because the game is good. You're going to play the game, period. Doesn't matter. The characters look good. Let's go. Someone in the comments said sex sells, always has, always will. That's what I was getting at. I don't know if I said those words exactly, but yes, I agree 1,000%. And as like rudimentary or caveman, or as that sounds, look, beautiful women, beautiful men, beautiful people are beautiful. You look, anything aesthetically pleasing to any person, you gonna look at it and appreciate it. At least most of us will. Not be, man, I hate that fact that I don't have that. Some people like that. But I look at it like a beautiful car. Like, that does, like, I'm a mark for like industrial design, like spaceships and all. That's why I like Star Wars. Not so much like the character. I don't care about that stuff. You show me a nice, cool spaceship flying around in space, I'm like, all right, let's go. And so that's why I mess with Blender. That's why there's a bunch of, I think his name's Ian Hubert. He just put out his second episode of what is it called? Dynamo. And he's a good filmmaker. He's all in Blender. It's like crazy effects. He does it's like all green screen, but it's like, I think he had some locations this time. But anyway, tangent. But so breaking down, the good games are good. That's what's successful. Bad games are bad, regardless of the wokeness level. And he's right. You break it down. You tell me any game that's successful, and it's because, first and foremost, the game is good and fun to play. Period. Everything else is extra credit. I said that last video. Everything else is extra credit. So the fact that Concord failed is because the game itself was bad, not because of the wokeness. That stuff added to the negative connotations that people put on it, yes. But if the game was good enough, as far as gameplay, story, aesthetics, character design, all those things, if everything was 10 out of 10, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We wouldn't even be talking about Concord as a failure. They're closing down tomorrow. They are closing down tomorrow. Today is the 5th. Tomorrow, see you later. And that's it. That's the bottom line. That's it. And so, sorry, go back to the Civil War. I'm saying, what's his name? Not J-Tech. Is it J-Tech? Whatever his name. He laughs, and he has like 2 laughs going. It's like, wah, 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 wah. It's like, how you do that? You got a horse laugh and I don't know. He's weird. But now he's like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. He's laughing. He's laughing at the expense of PlayStation, Sony, Concord, Firewalk. And so I'm like, all right. You look at the line of ponies, you look at the line of donkey unicorns, and slowly they're like sniping them out. Like, you're not a pony anymore if you're laughing at PlayStation. You're not a pony. You're not a donkey unicorn. You can't claim that. Rip the badge off your chest. But there ain't no but. You cannot laugh at the emperor. You cannot laugh at the king. Porter Rock is definitely not. I mean, he is a pony. But he's a realist too. He's not delusional, and he's not playing a role. Like, J-Dub is kind of playing a role, I would say, but maybe deep down he's a little, because he's defended. He's saying, I say the same thing I say to Sherman Holes, get good. I mean, you say the same thing I say to Phil Spencer, get good. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point that Porter Rock is trying to make is that Sony is doing things antithetical to what their customer base wants. And to kind of segue into the next kind of thing that is making this all happen, right? Hiroki Totoki recently said, I think it was yesterday, the day before, he said that Sony, he said Sony, because this went across movies, TV, anime, and video games. He said Sony doesn't have the IPs that are basically grown from inception, or like a young little, start, and nurtured, if you will. Organically grown, if you will, Colin. And that's the problem. That's the problem with what Sony's doing. All Sony's IPs are either owned by somebody else, hi Spider-Man, or were already existing and popular when they acquired them, hi Ghostbusters, and Sony's not doing too well with those. Now, I don't know if it is the fault of the IP. I don't think it is. I think it is the lack of creativity and skill on Sony's part, whether it's writers, directors, not so. I mean, I don't think there's a issue with directors. Mainly writers and kind of storytelling, like conceptually bringing these. Like, okay, the last two Ghostbusters movies. Well, I saw Frozen Kingdom, Frozen Empire. The last one. I missed the one just before that introduced Egon's grandkids or whatever. And I heard that one was better. But whatever. So I'm like, they're all right. They're probably 2 and 3 after the first one, or 3 and 4 after the second one, whatever. But what he says is that basically we're trying to be more of a a media entertainment company rather than a hardware company. They're moving away from hardware over to media. Movies, video games, TV, music. Well, not, I guess music too. Anime, right? And they want to make original IPs, start them and own them wholly and grow them into big giant phenomena. I mean, that's the goal of any creative person, right? Sure. Yes, okay, what he's saying is kind of true. You look back. Now, Oh No, it's Alex. I like him. I like him a lot. I like his stuff. But he went a little crazy on his last video, and Hiroki Totoki said this stuff, and he went through a list of all the Sony, these just video games, Sony IPs. But they weren't all Sony IPs. They weren't all owned by Sony. I guess they were all exclusive games or something, whatever. And so half the list was like, that's not owned, the IP, not owned by Sony. I don't care if it's exclusive on PlayStation, doesn't matter. What Hiroki is talking about is owning the IP, getting all that money. That's why the Spider-Man deal is so bad for Sony. It's good in that, maybe they could sell a couple consoles. In the long run, it's bad because Marvel's making all the money. And I think what happened, I was thinking about this. Marvel made that deal with Sony in the 90s for like $7 million or something like that for the Spider-Man movie rights because they were broke. And they've been kicking their booties. They've been kicking themselves in the booty ever since then. Ever since the 90s, Marvel's been like, damn, damn, right? And I'm like, yeah, I feel you, bro. And this is their way of getting back. They're like, all right, what? Oh, you want Spider-Man? You want to make a video game? You want our Spider-Man you want to make a video game from our Spider-Man that we own the IP? Oh, you asking us? Okay, here's the contract. And then you look at it like, oof, 50% of that? Yes, 50% of the. Okay. Let's see what else. But it's listen. Do you want it? Do you want Spider-Man? Do you want to make Spider-Man a video game and you want to make a console and stuff? You want to do that? Well, let's go. Sony's like, sign that contract, boy. They signed it. And they're getting raked over the coals. This retribution. Marvel's getting retribution over Sony for holding Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie IP, hostage for all these years, putting out garbage movie after garbage movie. They're still putting out garbage movies in Spider-Man's vein. All the Raven the Hunter? Nah, son. Venom is the closest thing that isn't hot trash. Still garbage. In the grand scheme of things, you look at the best Spider-Man movie and you look at any Venom movie, What's the best one? What's better? Ain't Venom. That's all I'm saying. They have, I would say, the only saving grace is that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movies, the animated joints. That is it. That is, if I was Marvel, I was like, look, you can keep Spider-Verse and stuff, but nah, we getting that live action back because y'all are killing our brand. What is this trash? What are you doing? I mean, is there not a clause in the contract that says, yo, if you make whack stuff, then we get it back or something? Look, I don't care. Anyway, I lost the thread on that one. I went way off. My GPS don't work no more. But yeah, going back, Hiroki Totoki, he wants brand new stuff, and you know, honestly, in Sony's defense, as far as, you know, the leadership and stuff, they tried. They said, oh, we got a brand new IP, it's all us. So we own the studio. That's why they bought the studio, because imagine if Concord jumped off, right, and was the biggest game ever, but Sony didn't own the studio. They would be rushing to buy the studio, and it would cost them more because successful, right? They thought that's what would happen. That's not what happened. And so, to their credit, they made proactive moves to try to appease their overlord, Hiroki Totoki, but it was not good. So, when you make something, it's original, blah, 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 it has to be, the part of the equation where it has to be good is very important. Just saying. And so, yeah. And instead of chasing, I mean, they've been look, I've said this many, many times. Sony has been creatively bankrupt probably throughout their whole existence. Throughout the video game space, they have always been creatively bankrupt. Always. You look at everything that they've done, it is derivative of something else. Now, I'm not saying that all art is original. It's impossible. All art is derivative, right? But it is in how you take certain elements of certain things, combine them, and make your piece. That's how you do it. It's like you say, okay, well, every song has musical notes, right? It's like, yes, that is all common in music. But how you arrange the notes and what instruments you use make that song great, a masterpiece, or hot trash garbage. Why are you killing my ears? You know what I'm saying? So, same applies to video games. Make it good, okay? And I'm still stupefied. We are living history. We are living, the creation of history is happening before our eyes, and it's very important that we relish in what's going on right now. Not only to gloat and smack these donkey unicorns and ponies up and down the internet, but also lessons. Not so much for Sony, because it doesn't seem like they learn stuff. They're on like their own planet, like Nintendo, but Nintendo's doing it right. Sony ain't doing it right. So it's for more of upcoming devs, younger students of the craft of making video games or art, animation, all these things. You see the mistakes that these big giant corporations make, put $200 million behind a thing. It looks beautiful, blah, the animation's real good, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? But then you see the cracks in the armor. You say, oh, wow, all these people are critiquing it, and they're explaining to us why it's not good. And on the surface, you could look at it and say, well, it doesn't kind of look like fun. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look good. I'm confused. How is it? Why? You know? And that's design. Those are creative choices, right? And so these are all lessons to be learned. Now, of course, all these things kind of are subject to the time that they come out. You know, there's certain things that came out back in the day, like All in the Family. You can't have a show like that. Not today. No, because everybody the wokeness is too strong. You know, Archie Bunker is slinging the N-word around, and George Jefferson just taking it. I'm like, yo, what? And that was like, I was around, but I wasn't watching that. I was like a little kid. I was like, okay. You know, the only thing I liked about the Jeffersons, I mean, Jeffersons was a good show, but like in the beginning when they showed like all the little clips of the show and when they're dancing and George is like doing this, I was like, yes, that's pretty good. Anyway, I'm rumble rambling. So anyway, that means it's time to go. But I appreciate y'all hanging out, y'all listening, man. Like and subscribe. Hit me down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this. Is the beginning of the PlayStation Sony Civil War. donkey, unicorns versus ponies. And it is glorious to watch. It is glorious to see where the cards fall, how the players, where it kind of pans out, because people are just jumping ship now. You thought, I mean, yes, Tim Dog, it was very unfortunate for him to leave Xbox to go to PlayStation right before the Civil War. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the promised land. Uh-oh, seems like there's trouble in Happy Land over in PlayStation. Oh man, there's whatever. I can't. Anyway, I appreciate, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Tilt the weight.